There he is. Oh, that's a good one. He has got a face full of that twitch reaper. Got you. Look at that. You know, the twitch reaper is the twitch reaper SP, which is what this is. The SP stands for suspending. It's very much so just a suspending jerkbait, but it has a gliding action. You notice this bait contains no bill. So it's a little more subtle in the water than what most jerkbaits are, and it has a little less vibration because there's no bill resistance, which makes it an incredibly good bait if you're wanting a real natural presentation like faced with super clear water. But basically I just fish it just like a jerkbait. You can actually kind of count it down, make a real long cast with it, and all I'm doing is just kind of a twitch pause, and I want to twitch it on a pretty slack line because it lets that bait on a slack line just have more left to right glide. It's just kind of a different spin on the jerkbait fishing. Like I say, just fish this bait, just envision it being a jerkbait with no lip, and you're pretty much going to be fishing it correctly. The only difference is that I don't get my line quite as tight whenever I impart action on the bait, and I also don't hit it quite as hard, and I make sure when I'm letting the bait pause or at rest that it's got a lot of slack line, and that lets the bait have just a wider left to right glide movement. Throw it anywhere that you would normally throw a jerkbait. You know, the outside edge of grass lines is a great place. All your typical pre-spawn things. I love this bait around docks. It's great for calling fish out from under the edge of boat docks, especially on some of your real clear water lakes, or around the face of any kind of trees. Pretty much anywhere you feel like you've got a very specific target or a very specific area that holds a bass and relatively clear water, the twitch reaper is going to work. But it is what I would consider to be a clear water bait because it has, you know, a super subtle action, which is very, very helpful in real clear water, but not so much in stained or muddy water. You know, there's really two ways actually you can fish this twitch reaper. You know, if you want to fish it slower, it's got a great action when fished like a jerkbait, just twitch, pause. But if you want to cover more water with it, you can actually just steadily retrieve the bait at whatever speed you choose, and it has a natural left to right wandering action. The way this bait's built, you get a lot of sound out of it too, because it makes that left to right wandering action, or as you twitch it, you can see in this one, this is a clear version of it, or a clearer color. You can see the way the rattles are in it, and they're in a chamber that runs through the bait left to right instead of, you know, nose to tail. So because that rattle is contained in that chamber, every time that bait makes a direction change, it makes the rattle hit the opposite wall of the lure. So you get a lot of good sound out of it versus a bait where the rattles roll to the back, and once they get to the tail throughout the retrieve, you don't really get a lot of sound out of them. But this one's going to give a lot of sound every time you twitch it, just because of the way they're contained in that chamber. I mean, I throw this on the same rod reel line that I would throw a jerkbait. You know, whatever rod and reel line you like to throw a jerkbait on is what I'm going to throw this on. I really personally like 12-pound fluoro. This is just 100% high seas fluorocarbon. And also keep in mind what I said earlier, I'm going to fish this bait in typically clear water environments. So a smaller diameter line is going to, you know, get you more bites as well. The rod that I'm using is just it's a 704 TFO tactical rod, Tactical Elite. And it's the same rod that I would throw, you know, practically any jerkbait unless it's some kind of Magnum oversized jerkbait on. And this is a Savage Gear Finesse casting reel. It's a high-speed reel, which I like because a lot of times you're going to get a bite on this bait when it's sitting motionless. You're going to go to twitch it the next time, and you're just not going to be able to find it. And that high-speed reel helps you catch up and hook and, you know, get the fish hooked quicker than what a slower speed reel will. Using a line like, you know, I probably wouldn't ever go over 15 on this, but using a 10 or a 12-pound fluorocarbon, for one, it's going to sink with the bait, so it's going to have less forward drag, whereas like a copolymer or a mono would have a forward drag because it's wanting to float. The fluorocarbon is going to sink. Smaller diameter fluorocarbon is going to actually sink easier than bigger diameter because there's less resistance as it goes in the water. So you're going to get better lure contact with a smaller line, and you're also going to have less resistance on the lure, which lets it be a little freer in the water. So you're actually going to get a little better action out of the bait than what you would with a bigger diameter line. There he is. You know, when I'm picking a color for a lure, it's all about the conditions that I'm going to fish the lure in. Today I'm out here and I've got really clean, really clear water, so I'm using the greeny color in this Twitch Reaper. I chose this color because it's really natural. It really suits the environment that I'm fishing it in. I'll go more solid colors if I've got, you know, less visibility, or on a real nasty overcast day, like if it's raining or overcast, I might go to a solid, more shad color that's got more of a base of white. So I'm going to use the more solid colors either when outdoor visibility is less sunlight, maybe early in the morning, and then I'm going to go to the more translucent colors when I've got bright sunshiny conditions and really, really clear water. So that's pretty much how I go about my color choices, you know, and you just kind of base that around your forages. If you're fishing a lake that's got a lot of bluegill, you might want a color that's got maybe a little purple or blue in it. If you're fishing a lake that's got a lot of threadfin shad, you might want a bait that's got like a little yellow pin line on it, and so on and so forth. But if you'll keep that, you know, transparent for super clear conditions and bright sunshiny conditions, and more opaque solid colors for your less water visibility, or when you have overcast or very dark conditions, you're going to typically be fine on your color choices. There he is.